Go.
Hello, welcome to Miss Hodgson's online kitchen class. Today I'm going to be making strawberry mousse. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to melt the gelatin. On the recipe it says gelatin leaves or gelatin powder, and I've got the crystallised powder here, which I find a lot easier. So if you've got the powder, then you need to put it in some warm water to dissolve. So I'm going to put this in. I need 10 grams, which is 2 teaspoons. If you've got the leaves, then you need to soak them in some water until they go quite soft and squidgy. And then after that, you need to actually melt it in a pan in some water until it all melts down. So it's a bit more of a faff really, rather than just having to stir them in some warm water like this. So I'm just going to give it a good stir, make sure that they're dissolved. They smell quite strange actually, but you can't taste it though. Once it's in the mousse, it's absolutely fine. Give that a good old stir, and then you need to put it on the side and wait for it to cool down, because you don't want to be adding it to everything else whilst it's warm, especially not cream and also egg whites. So I'll just set that to the side. I'll just put that over there. Now I've already pre-chopped my strawberries, as you can see in here. So you just need to chop the end of your strawberries off, put them into a container that's good for blending. If you've got a blender, then put them in the blender. That's fine. I'm just going to use a hand blender. And you need a tablespoon of lemon juice, which actually I have to admit I don't have. I didn't manage to get any lemons. So I'm just going to put in my sugar. So I'm just going to put in a tablespoon of sugar here. And then I can blend it down. In fact, strawberries produce so much juice that I don't think it will really matter that much. We'll just see how this turns out. I think it will be fine. Satisfying. That shake. I'm just going to put this in my washing up bowl, and then I'll just show you the consistency. There we go. So actually, there's so much juice in the strawberries, it didn't really need the lemon juice. Now you need to put 100 millilitres of that in the fridge, because that's going to be the topping for on top of your mousse, and then the rest of it's going to be added into the cream and the egg whites in a short while. So 100 millilitres, I'm just going to guess mine. I think probably that much is fine. I'm just going to set that to one side and put this in the fridge. There we go. Let's quickly go up to my cupboard, and it's got a little bit of information firstly about the strawberries. So strawberries are really, really good for you. They're antioxidants. They've got vitamin C in. They've got vitamin B9 in, which gives you energy, and also potassium, which reduces your blood pressure. So strawberries are a good thing to eat. The next thing I'm going to do is whip up my eggs. If you go up there, Albert. So this is an example of what happens during aeration. We have already covered this, but it's always good to recap. So every time we do eggs, I'm going to recap on aeration, because there'll probably be an exam question on aeration or denaturing protein. So this is what happens. This is the egg white, and this is the protein in the egg white, and it's all tangled up together like that. And then you start whipping up your egg white, agitating it with the whisk, and you're adding in big air bubbles there, and then that's separating all the strands of protein or uncurling them. And then eventually, when they form a foam, the protein wraps around the air bubbles and it forms a stable network. So that's how it starts when it's all liquidy, and then it starts to get a little bit frothy, and then it turns into a foam, and then gives it that really nice stable network. I'm using my Kenwood's Chef here. If you could go back, Albert, get it all in view. There we go. This is a a relic. This is from the 1970s and it's still going, so it's probably nearly 50 years old. I got it about 7 years ago, but it's still going. It's a really, really good piece of kit. I love it. So I'm going to whisk my eggs in this. You can use a hand whisk, an electric whisk, whatever, but this is a lot quicker than hand whisking it, I have to admit. So going to turn that off for a moment. In a minute I'll be adding the sugar gradually. So the egg has whipped up to 7 times its volume, and once you add the sugar it makes it even more stable and it gives it a nice shiny glossy finish. So I've already pre-measured my sugar here and it's 4 tablespoons of sugar. So I'm just going to turn this back on and gradually add the sugar. So it's exactly the same as when you make meringues. And that is done. So we've got some nice peaks there. The next thing you need to do is whip up your cream. I've already pre-whipped my cream here. So it says medium stiff peaks. So normally when you whip cream up, you have to whip it a little bit further than this. This is a little bit softer than it would normally be if you were using it for something. So it needs to be sort of softish, but still be able to hold a peak if you pull it up. So I'm going to transfer that now into a bowl here. And it says to use a large spoon. So if you've got a large spoon, then that would be the best thing to use. So I've got my cream in the bowl. Okay, the next thing I need to do is, what do I need to do? Add in the strawberry mixture. So I'm just going to do this gradually instead of all at once. It's quite a lot actually, strawberry mixture. So I'm going to use my spoon, so I'm folding it in like that. Seems like quite a lot of strawberry mixture actually. When I've made mousse in the past, the volume of cream has actually been a lot more than this. So I think it's going to have quite an intense strawberry taste. So for those of you that really like strawberries, that's good. And then you can also tell yourself that it's healthy because it has strawberries in. Don't worry about the rest of the things in there. I like the cream. Unfortunately, I can't eat this, which I'm very sad about. I made a strawberry cheesecake yesterday as well, which I couldn't eat. But then I had some vegan cream cheese and I made a vegan one, which I ate last night, which was nice. And then I'll just add the rest of that in, like so. The next thing, stir. So that's actually quite sloppy, isn't it, that mixture? And now I'm going to add in the gelatin. Have a quick look at my gelatin. So it's all actually already, as it cools down, it does start to set slightly. So I can feel just around the edges a little bit that it started to go a little bit like jelly, really. When jelly starts to set around the edge, I'm going to give that another stir, and then I'm going to add it to my mixture. So in that goes, and then I can stir that in. Which makes it even more runny than it already was. But remember, once it's been in the fridge for 2 hours, that gelatin is going to really set this mixture. So the texture it is now, it's not going to be that texture when it comes out. It's not going to, it kind of reminds me a little bit of a thick milkshake at the moment, a thick strawberry milkshake, which isn't such a bad thing. Now I'm going to add the egg whites, and these again need to be folded in. So when you fold something in, you're trapping air at the same time. So not only have the eggs been aerated, I'm just going to use a spatula for this. Here we go. Pour this out. Get every single piece of. Normally when I've used a mousse recipe, you haven't added the sugar until the end, or you add the sugar into the cream rather than add it into the egg. So this is a bit of a different recipe, but I've been assured that it's a good recipe. So folding it in, so we're not whisking it, we're gently folding it, we're lifting it up and adding air into that mixture, like so. Today I'm going to use a glass or some glasses. I'm just going to show you an example, pouring it into one glass here. It's completely up to you what you use. You might have some smaller glasses to put your mousse in, or you might just want to put it in one large bowl. It's completely up to you. I think it looks much nicer actually than the smaller glasses. Now I'm just going to get out the puree from earlier, and I'm just going to put a little bit in the bottom, like that. And then I'm going to pour my mousse over the top. And then I'm going to save, once it's set, then I'm going to put some more on. And then you could put a chopped strawberry on the top as well. I'm going to pour this back into the jug that had the, or you can use a fresh jug if you like, it doesn't really matter. And it smells absolutely delicious. I'm very sad I can't eat it, but my sons can eat this, Albert and Danny, so they'll be pleased. Yeah, I'll be happy about that. And then I'm just going to pour this in. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's delicious. This is a really large glass. This is a large portion for later. I'll just fill it up to there. Flatten it out. So it takes about 2 hours to chill. And when it comes out of the fridge, it should have a much firmer texture, and then you can put the top bit of strawberry on. So I'm going to put it into the fridge now. Stop. So if you remember, I put some of the strawberry stuff at the bottom, the strawberry puree, and then I put some aside, which is here. And I'm just going to put a spoon in here, and then you might be able to get a little bit of an impression of what the texture's like. So there we go. Oh, that's so nice. Look, there we go. So perfect moussey texture there, and it's got that texture from the whipped cream and also from the egg, and I'm just going to show you the chemistry of what was happening actually when we were whipping the cream up. So whipped cream is 35 to 40% fat, sorry, double cream, and within it there's lots and lots of fat globules. And what happens when you whip it, you agitate all the fat globules, they all join together and then they link around the air, and that's why it increases in volume. So it's kind of similar to egg, but instead of protein it's the fat globules, and then that joins around the air, and that's what makes it increase in volume, and that's what gives it that really lovely light texture, a combination of both the aeration and the whipped cream. And the final thing I'm going to do is pour this on the top. In an ideal world, obviously I wouldn't have got that spoonful, but I was just showing you the texture, which is absolutely perfect. So I hope everyone really enjoys their mousses. And then I'm just going to pour some of that on top like that. If you wanted to have the strawberry puree set, then you could always add a little bit of gelatin to that. Again, melt the gelatin, add it to it, pour it on the top, put it in the fridge for 2 hours, and then that sets that as well. If you wanted to be really fancy during an exam, you could do layers. You could do a layer of the puree, you could do a layer of the mousse, puree, mousse, and keep going all the way to the top. So there are lots and lots of different things you can do with this. So here's my finished product, strawberry mousse. You can garnish it with a strawberry as well. I don't have any strawberries left actually, but there we go. Or you could serve it with a strawberry biscuit as well, or a shortbread biscuit, or a tuile, or something like that if you were doing it in the exam. Okay, that's the end. Hope you enjoy your mousse.